All right, let's get ready. Today's guest is a UK-based producer tearing up the scene and earning nods from heavy hitters like Andy C, Don Diablo, and Mackie G. It is MXTR. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
It's so awesome to have you here. And I just want to quickly say my first introduction to you was your track Bounce. I love that tune so much. You don't understand. The part I love the most about it is like the little scratches.
Yeah. That's pretty much what everyone says about it, actually.
Really? They're just like, I just love the scratches. They just make everything sound cool, I swear to God. We're going to start things off with a quick fire question round. So just try and answer them as quickly as you can. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your dream B2B partner?
I have to say Subfocus.
Yeah, fair. Would you rather sweat glitter or cry reverb?
A cry reverb because it has a
How
use.
Amazing. Right?
I could sample it.
Imagine. What is the best set you've ever seen live?
I'm going to have to say, so where I live in Chelmsford, there's a festival called New World Festival. And last year AMC played, and it was like a 360 thing. And like, it wasn't even that big. I think it was with Epidemic Sounds or whatever. And it was that stage. I was there with my girlfriend, and we was literally behind him. He was 1.5 meters in front of us. And his set was so good, and it was creating so much noise that they had to duct tape the decks down because they were falling off. I have a video of it somewhere, but yeah. And to summarize, that AMC set, it was phenomenal. Yeah, it was amazing.
That sounds insane. He is literally, the energy that man brings to his sets is so unmatched. So unmatched. Yeah. He's actually coming because I live in Perth in Australia.
Yeah, I was seeing. Cool.
Yeah, and he's going to play, I think it's in June 6th, and then Coben's going to be there as well. The lineup is so fat, and I've not really been to that many events here, so very excited. Hopefully
she played directly before him as well, so she sort of like ran to his set, and we sort of came with, and hers was great as well, but AMC is AMC. Yeah.
He is AMC, exactly.
I find that she takes a lot of influence since they made their relationship public in the last, I don't know, however, was it 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. I've noticed that her sets are they're a lot more like AMC's sets, which is cool.
Yeah, and also like imagine the dubs that they can both just give each other as well. That's like crazy. The dream. Yeah.
He listens to my stuff on in-flight, but he's never downloaded anything yet.
That's amazing, though. Even just for him to listen to your tracks.
Yeah, he's still heard them, which is cool. But maybe one day.
One day, 100%, no doubt.
I hope so.
One track that never leaves your USB.
It's probably cliche to say Solar System. Solar System is one of them, but realistically, one that's actually kind of a curveball, absolute banger. Get Physical by Culture Shock. I love that tune.
Oh yes, yeah.
Every set,
both bangers though. This is a bit of a rogue one. If you were a sound effect, what would you be?
If I was a sound effect, Bit Crush.
Oh, nice.
I love Bit Crush.
Yeah, that's so good. Pick one. Teleport to any rave in history, or collab with your teenage music hero.
Collab with my teenage music hero, who is Netsky, who is like, for me, it was like, obviously Subfocus was there before him, but Netsky to me Netsky is the single reason why I listen to drum and bass.
Really?
No
way.
I started listening to Netsky in 2009. I was in year 9 on the bus, like coming home from school, and I had like Prisma, like Eyes Closed, all them sort of tunes, like 09, 10, and then I think his first album, Hospital, I believe, come out 2010 or 2011. Anyway, it was Netsky. It was always been Netsky. Yeah.
And was that back when we had to like actually Bluetooth each other tunes as well?
Yeah. Like even infrared. I don't know if you remember infrared, like where you put the phones together. Yeah. So Bluetooth infrared. Yeah. So it was back in those days. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh,
You don't have to believe it, just like your favorite one.
oh, I don't know about favorite because I've never thought about it like that. I'd have to say, I guess the obvious cliche one that everyone would say is aliens, right? Do I believe it? Yeah, I don't believe that we're alone. I absolutely believe that they either live amongst us or if things have happened. There's a lot of stuff. I don't know if you know much about Bob Lazar, who's like the whistleblower, famous whistleblower for like the Area 51 stuff. But that's really interesting. Or there's been a couple of stuff on Joe Rogan about that, which obviously some people think is quite cynical. But I'll probably just say that. Yeah, the general like alien consensus. Yeah.
Nice. I do feel though, like I'm pretty sure I've read it somewhere that there's more chance that they do exist than don't exist. And I just I'm like you. There's no part of me that can believe that we are alone. Like there's no part. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me either as well. I think obviously it would just cause mass hysteria if it was all public knowledge, I guess. So
true.
Yeah.
So true. I mean, you could be an alien for all I know.
I could. Yeah, I mean, you could. You're definitely an alien.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what is the weirdest sample you've ever used in a track?
Oh, that's a really hard one to remember. I'm just trying to rack my brain. So I don't know about weird. I'd have to think about that and answer at a later date. But interesting is I like to go. My partner really loves hikes, and so since I met her in the last year and a half, I got into hiking with her, and we would go on hikes, and I would find myself sampling stuff as we're walking, which is quite cool. Which is not a rare thing, but I really like adding interesting things. I'll sample, I'll be recording a stream, or something, and then I'd add it as a very I don't know, a minus 20, minus 25 dB layer in some atmosphere stuff, because obviously you're trying to get unique textures and whatever for your pads and atmospheric stuff. So so not a very interesting answer, but just sampling things like that, the rustle of leaves and cars and that sort of stuff. I'd say that. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I love that. And also what I love the most about that is then like you said, the hiking is now a thing that you and your girlfriend do together. So then it's almost an essence of your relationship is in your tracks, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love
That's how I feel too.
Oh, what is your biggest musical red flag?
As in,
you can interpret
for context,
it however you want.
Okay, all right. Okay, so context I would give for this is let's say I hear a track from a really big established artist. I'm talking someone who's got 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 monthlies plus on Spotify. They're established. There's no excuse for unoriginality, is what I would say. This isn't totally my opinion. I'm not trying to shit on anyone here or anything, but splice vocal samples from someone who is massive, because I just feel when you're smaller, less excuses, because you can, because Splice is amazing and we all do it. I mean, I've used Splice vocals loads of times. I try to really keep it down these days though, but yeah, I'd just say that I'd say Splice vocal samples from people who are massive artists, because I just think come on man, your management can get you in the studio with whoever you want, you can hit whoever you want up. There's no excuse for being unoriginal with vocals, in my opinion. So that for me is a bit of a red flag. I'll hear, I won't name any names, but I'll hear a tune. I heard tunes recently from someone who I've followed for a while, whose music I really like, and I hear Splice Focus. I'm just oh, come on, man! The tune's good, but you've half baked it. Come on, why are you using the same vocal sample that I used a year and a half ago? That's a bit elitist, though.
It is? But do you reckon it's because they don't want to share the royalties with a vocalist? Or...
That's a good point. That is a good point. I haven't thought about that.
That's not a good reason to use it, I reckon. But that's what I could imagine would be the reason they did. But
I mean, the cynist in me sort of says it's laziness, but I don't know that to be true. I'm not sure really, but I mean, if it works, it works, and at the end of the day, who really cares? But again, it's a matter of opinion, and I as a producer, I just think it's lazy, and also you run into lots of problems. No, it's not, because a tip that, if any producers are watching this, a tip that a lot of people will do they find a splice sample that they like, or like a vocal or whatever, a tip is you can Shazam it. You can keep Shazamming it, like keep playing the sample, Shazam it, let Shazam pick it up, and it will show you generally like the most popular track. Like it will just come up with a track that might have used that sample, and that way you can like quickly road test to see, oh, okay, am I being original by using this vocal sample or whatever? Because obviously, if it's on Splice, the chances are there's a track on Spotify that's already got that vocal on it. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Yeah, you can do that.
That's actually such a good tip.
Yeah. I can't remember where I heard it from, but people have been doing that for a while, and you can run into all sorts of licensing issues as well with Splice vocals, because if you use it and then another track is absolutely massive that blows up that's using it, sometimes SoundCloud will flag that your track is copyright, even though it's technically not. And obviously you can just generate a license on Splice by just going on the thing, but yeah, you get all sorts of problems. So I'm trying to steer away from using Splice as much as I can, but I do use it a lot for general samples. So
but there are as well, like there's so many up and coming vocalists too that are just amazing. And it just, all it takes is like a tiny little bit of research to find one, like a message in the DMs. Like there'll be so many people who are like so keen to get on a track. And probably absolutely. They'd be better than the Splice samples as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with technology the way it is now, some vocalists are just exceptional, just out the gate. But even if they're not, or even if you're not, like the technology is there for you to sound amazing. Like there's no real excuse to be going straight to Splice for vocals, you know? For sure. What is your go-to plugin that you might overuse but you love? Ooh, bit of dance floor gatekeeping here, but I won't. I'll name three. I'll name two. Well, the obvious one would be FabFilter Pro Q, because it's just the industry standard precise EQing. But no, it would be. There's a plugin called Gain Reduction Deluxe by a company called JST, Joey Sturgis Tones, I think. It's actually the old version, because there's a V2 of the plugin now as well. Basically, that plugin is amazing. Like anything that you want to squeeze volume and like saturate a bit, clip, use that plugin. It was originally designed for like rock and punk band vocals, like to add real like grit to them. But I think it was discovered by Muzz. I think it was Muzz. Muzz showed this to Tex of Surgical Sounds, who is the producer of Parappas, who's my mentor, has been for like a year and a half. And then he showed me, and he teaches this on his like Patreon or whatever. And it's like common knowledge. A lot of people in dance floor use it now, but it used to be a bit of a secret. You just slap it on vocals, slap it on synth, slap it on mid basses. It like saturates clips and just brings a hell of a lot of volume out of stuff, and it just sounds great. So yeah, if you don't know, get to know.
Awesome.
Gain Reduction
That's
Deluxe.
such a good tip.
Yeah,
Gain Reduction Deluxe.
Yeah, it's really
nice.
good.
I will be downloading it.
Just whack the gain all the way up. So you don't ignore the other functions. Whack the gain all the way up, and then the slay knob here is your compressor. Just add maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. Don't go overboard in it. Just
Yeah, ready. Nice. Oh my gosh, what a good tip. I'm learning because you do side note, you do production lessons as well, hey?
I've literally just started. I think I've only taught 5 people so far. Cool. And I recently become, or at least recently quit my job. So if you want production lessons, like I haven't done it because like I've made it in music, because I absolutely haven't. I'm going to be looking for something else, a bit more casual on the side, but so I have a lot more time to do production lessons. So if anyone wants to learn,
nice. Well, I'll make sure I put the link to because you've got a website. I checked out your website, and I know you can book things on there, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
So
shout out my best mate Johannes for doing that. He's a legend. He set all the website up for me. So yeah.
Oh, amazing. What a guy. Yeah, I'll link it in the description. So anyone who wants production lessons, go check that out. I might even check it out myself further down the line. I need to get back on the production train, really. Yeah. But you need to really be in it here. And crazy.
I won't bore you too much, but I've produced for 3 years, and I managed to get to a certain, I'm not saying that I'm pro level or whatever, I got to a certain standard because I absolutely no-lifed it. So I was going to say
3 years to get to the level you're at right now, you must have put in some hours.
I mean, the thing is, though, the most important thing is to find a mentor who makes exactly what you want to make, and then forget every other thing. It's all white noise. Focus on what that person says and do exactly what they say, because if it's good enough for them, like, it's good enough for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if what they say is abstract, just follow it, and just follow it to a T. Religiously, until you get to the point where you can question it and go, okay, well, why are we doing this? Maybe let's look at this, whatever. Not to ramble, but I would say if you want to get good, invest in getting a mentor, and it's going to cost you some money, but that's the way the world works.
So I got a couple more quick fires. So what?
This hasn't really been very quick fire. Sorry.
No, honestly, it never is. I need to change. I need to change the segment name, because it never is. I'm so bad at like tangents. Do you have any kind of party trick or useless skill that's just like you can just do?
Oh yeah, I do. It's really embarrassing though. I'm really good at doing Gollum from the Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
I'm not.
You have to. You can't say that and then not do an impression.
Okay. This is going to be on the internet forever, isn't it? Okay.
They stole it from us. Oppressor.
I used to do that like when I was like 17, 18. I thought it was like my little thing, and like, oh,
dude, that was so good. Like, if you had just covered your camera then and then told me you just whacked on Lord of the Rings, I would have been like, yeah, fair enough. That was so good. I was scared it was going to be bad, so I'm actually...
No, it's pretty good, unfortunately.
Good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
No, that was awesome.
I've been doing it for like nearly 15 years. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's me with like anything Borat, so don't worry.
Oh, well, that's much funnier. I wish I could do more Borat. There's a really funny guy I follow. I can't remember his name. I think he's an Aussie who does Borat impressions. He's so funny.
Oh, does he do it like to his missus? Like
yeah. He does it to his wife or whatever. Yeah. And he's like,
she's
my
just
wife.
Always so unimpressed.
Yeah, so funny. That guy's so funny.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. So good.
He does Voldemort as well, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen him do Voldemort actually. Catch me on TikTok later looking that up. So one more quick fire question: what producer do you think is super underrated at the moment?
Underrated? Ooh. I have a perfect example, and I hope he watches this. I recently did a collab, or 2 collabs, that are coming out on Right Records next Friday with a guy called M-Joy. I think his name is Jordan Moon. But yeah, his producer name is M-Joy. I think he's produced for like nearly 10 years, and he has like 300 monthly listeners on Spotify or something. If you listen to his stuff, you'll be like, how the hell has this guy only got like 300 monthly listeners? He's like a phenomenal producer. One thing I didn't realize, people said this, they were like, oh, the most important way, or one of the biggest ways that you will get better at producing and learn, is by collabing with other people. And there's only a few people that really happened with for me. Like when I knew they were better than me, and I looked at the project file and I'm like, wow, like this is really something extra here. And M-Joy is one of them people. The way that he, I don't know if you use Ableton, but the way that he processes stuff in Ableton in terms of his bussing and the way he's sending stuff, he basically uses a method that was like quite popularized by Skrillex on YouTube a couple of years ago. Cool. In that it's kind of like bus mastering. I won't bore you too much, but anyway, the way that he did it, I was looking at the project file and I was like, wow, there's no way that this guy has been producing for like as little time as me. Like, he's been producing a while, and then I was speaking to him. He's like, yeah, I sort of just changed up my sound. I've been producing for nearly 10 years, and I was like, yeah, I can tell. But his tracks sound amazing, and they sound they're like very, very subsonic dimension influenced, extremely.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, how are you spelling his name? So I'll just make sure I actually
so it's M-J-O-I, just M-Joy. So yeah, Mike, nice. Juliet, Oscar, India. Yeah.
Found him.
Yeah,
awesome.
really good producer. I think he supported Andy C and stuff as well. So.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
wow. Oh, that's so interesting. And
his stuff is like heavily influenced by like 90s rave culture, which I love. Like it's got like acid sort of sound, and that is literally like my take on like heavy dancehall. I love like the acid 303 vibe. So as I'm sure you can probably hear in a lot of my tunes, I try and incorporate that.
On that note though, I think I've read on your website, I can't remember exactly, I did write it down, that you started off with your roots being in like metal and UK hardcore. Is that right?
So
Before you kind of got into drum and
yeah,
bass?
so I have vivid memories of being like year 9, year 10 at school. So what's that, like 12, 13, 14, whatever. I would play RuneScape, and I would listen to like pirate radio stations, and I would be listening to like melodic death metal stuff like Dead by April, and then like was it like Avenged Sevenfold and all that sort of stuff as well. And then amongst that, I would listen to I would listen to that, and then pirate radio stations, I would listen to like lots of trance, like A State of Trance, that sort of stuff, and like lots of like hardcore stuff, like lot of Four to the Floor stuff, like Darren Styles, that sort of thing, and like the Clubland CDs back in the UK that were around. So that's sort of where my sort of stuff, my original influences sort of came from, like being a kid listening to sort of lots of Four to the Floor, a bit of like punk, like death metal type thing, like not early Bring Me the Horizon, not quite that heavy, but more like melodic sort of stuff.
I follow you.
That's where a lot of my influences come from, and that was round about this, and sort of just after that was sort of where Netsky came in, because I wasn't listening to drum and bass too much then. I did buy Pendulum's for second studio album, which I think is called Immersion, I think. So that was a big influence as well. I don't think I've actually listed that, but that was a big influence as well. But Pendulum was like a rock band, right? They're like a rock band, so sort of one in the same sort of the influences were definitely there.
And that's why Pendulum is so iconic as well, because of all, like, especially I've seen them live just the once, and like all the live instruments and like the live drumming, for example. It's just
I've not been lucky enough to see them live. I wish I could.
They're insane. But I love that that's where your roots come from as well, because I feel like that's doesn't tend to be the classic like transition to drum and bass sort of story. Like I feel like, especially like you said with that like 4/4 sort of background and like the heavy and the metal and everything. But do you like, because I'm quite into like my kind of punk drum and bass, you know, like, do you know like Toronto is Broken? And
I know who he is. I don't consume any of his music, so I couldn't pretend to say yes.
Fair.
I think I get the influence though. But no, maybe I'll have to check him out, because I know he runs a label as well. Is it Yana? I think a couple of my mates have been on Yana. So
and he recently did like a whole event where it was like a rock drum and bass like kind of smashed together, and he had like I can't remember her name. There's an artist he collabs with quite a lot, and she's like a screamo, like she's a screamo.
Is it okay? I Am Okay?
No, not okay, but I know her.
Okay.
I can't. I don't think this vocalist has ever done drum and bass before. It's like she's just, but they are like friends, I think, and her vocals are. And I'm not even really into screamo that much, but like every now and then I'm like, that's insane. You can appreciate the effort. You really should. He's very cool. But I love that, like when rock and drum and bass meet. I think that's just, I think that's so fun, especially when it comes to like Pendulum and the drums and the guitars and like that real like electric bass lines,
like,
and
like raw, like gritty drums, like probably organic sounding. It's very very synonymous with the Pendulum sound.
And don't get me wrong, love the clean stuff as well, when everything's real snappy and like that snare just like hits. But it's nice to have both ends of the spectrum. I think we're very lucky in drum and bass to have it all. We've got it all.
It's so broad, so broad.
It's so broad. So for anyone who is just now discovering you, what is your origin story in terms of, you know, at what point did you go from listening to drum and bass to being like, oh, I want to make drum and bass? I
can literally tell you the exact moment.
Please do.
So shout out my best friend Johannes again. Me and him, we were at, so he messaged me, and I was a bit broke at the time, and he said bro, actually it wasn't that I was broke, it was more that I was quite more introverted than I am now, because I guess I've always like faked it till I made it in terms of confidence. So I was still kind of coming out my shell a little bit then, I guess. This was maybe like 4 years ago. And he's like, hey bro, we should check this festival out, Liquidity. And me being told I'll fly to another country and go to a festival, and it was quite not overwhelming, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to do, which I find crazy now to think about actually. Anyway, when all was said and done, we ended up going to Liquidity Festival. We met at Amsterdam airport because he lives in Sweden, right? He lives in another country. He works.
Cool.
Funnily enough, he works for EA Dice. He's like a game dev, like a video effects. He's got a really cool job. So he's
cool.
He travels quite a lot. So he was more cultured than I was at the time. So it was nothing to him. But yeah, we met in Amsterdam and we ended up going to Liquidity Festival, and it was one of the best times of my life. Genuinely, it was like I was watching 1991 set, and I'm crying. I'm serious. I'm crying my eyes out because I'd never been to a drum and bass event other than like illegal free party raves when I was really young in the UK. But I never enjoyed them because I was always on edge. But I was like emotionally like bonding with what I was hearing, and it was resonating like so deep with me that it kind of changed my life, if I'm being honest.
I love that.
Especially watching Netsky. Because I've listened to him since like 2009, right? And for me to hear like Memory Lane live, for instance, it touched me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like without being cliche, it really touched me. But anyway, so the moment is, I remember turning to him when we're watching Netsky, and I said, I want to do that. I said, like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And I had like, I'd never opened Ableton or any door or anything before. And when I got home, I bought Ableton, £500. I bought Ableton, bang, and I just jumped in, and I quit after a month. But then I picked it back. I try because I'd have this thing, and I always say this to producers who are starting out. You will rage quit. You will think this is too hard. This is way too hard. The barrier to entry is way too high, and you'll close Ableton and you'll go back to and you'll go and play video games. You'll be like, "Fuck it, I'm going to go and play FIFA. Or I'm going to go play whatever it is that you like to play." But then it will creep back in, and you'll go back, and you'll like repeat this cycle. But there'll be a point where you feel that you want to break through the wall that's production, because I imagine like production, it's like a bit of a brick wall, and the only way is forward. You have to break through the brick wall, because there is these like eureka moments, like clicks, and something makes sense, and then all these other things collectively make sense, and you're like, wow, I can't believe that makes sense to me now. You know what I mean? For instance, as someone who's watched Subfocus's Solar System breakdown on I think it was Computer Music Magazine, that's been leaked on YouTube for a number of years, I think I've watched that 15-20 times, and every time I've watched it, it's been at different parts of my like career or whatever, over time, and you understand something that you didn't understand before, and it's like, and you start questioning, like, why is he doing that, and you think, oh, well, why is he doing that, but I think collectively, like, things just, it takes so much time, so many hours, but things just start making sense, and light bulbs go off, which turn other light bulbs on and stuff. And it's a bit of a tangent, but the literal exact moment that I wanted to start producing was because of Liquidity Festival, and since then it's also been my dream to get on their label. I mean, I've been listening to Liquidity since 2012, 13 on YouTube. I've listened to UKF just before, because UKF is UKF. Obviously, Netsky was all over UKF, especially 2010, 11, 12 onwards, whatever. But yeah, it was Liquidity Festival, and that is one of the best places on earth. That festival, it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, this will be my 4th year going as a like a punter or whatever. So yeah, can't wait to go again this year.
Yeah, I bet. And like to have that goal of that's especially one of the festivals you really want to play, it kind of makes going even more special, because you're like, every year is a year closer to like when you're actually going to be on the lineup.
Exactly.
Oh, what a full circle moment that would be.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got like a bit of a not an inside joke, but like a thing amongst my friends, and yeah, like Johannes always makes jokes. My best mate, he was always like, "Yeah, I can't wait to see MXTR on the Liquidity lineup," which would, that'd be insane. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping to hear some of my music this year played out, because I've not heard any of my tunes played live before, and I'm hoping that now I'm sort of at the point where maybe if I'm lucky enough I could hear them played live, like maybe being good enough to be in people's sets, you know what I mean? So fingers crossed. Yeah.
How emotional would that be as well? Like that would be in itself. I'd be
crying like a baby.
Oh yeah, I bet. And because even though you've not had your tunes played out, you have had big DJ supporting your music. What's been the craziest, like, oh my gosh, moment of a DJ supporting your music, and who was that?
It was K9. So he's been he had his I think it was like the start of, I think it was like end of Jan through Feb, maybe to the sort of the start of March or whatever, or like halfway through March or something like that. He toured down under, like Australia, New Zealand, and it was in his set. The bounce was in his set. He was doubling it with Push Pull by Jesse, which is cool, because I managed to connect with Jesse through that, and we like follow each other now and stuff, which is pretty cool. So have like a little bit of a relationship with him, which is cool. And so he was, I don't know how I've tried to do it on my decks, but I think he was playing like 178 or 176 or something, but I don't know how he managed to make them sound good. I don't know if he had key sync on or something. I can't do it because they're totally different keys. So not that that's a problem, because sometimes it doesn't have to be the same key for it to sound good. But I digress. It was someone sent me a video of them. In fact, it was 3 or 4 different people DM me say, "Hey bro, oh my god, K9 played your tune Bounce last night," and I woke up and I was just like, no. And then they sent me videos, and again, like in actual fact, the video I got, the first one, I was in Stockholm because my best friend lives in Stockholm, and I was playing my first ever international gig. I was playing my first ever gig actually out there like 2 months ago, and someone sent it to me then. I was on the sofa chilling with my girlfriend and him. Yeah, and I was watching it, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I was like, "Oh my god, K9 is playing my tune in his set." Like, it was like that was
the other side of the world as well.
The other side of the world. That was really, really touching, actually. One for me would be like if Subfocus played it, because Subfocus is like. I love Netsky, but like obviously Netsky sort of diverged sort of into more sort of pop sort of. I think he moved to LA in like 2016 or something like that, and he started releasing a lot more like commercial sort of music. I mean, he started exploring his sound as an artist away from drum and bass, and really sort of about that time is when Subfocus came sort of back into the fray for me, because I remember seeing Subfocus live at Creamfields in the UK 2014. He was promoting his album Taurus, because remember he had I don't know if he had the big ring, like the big ring of light, and his live act, his live show, would have this big like yellow sort of like, not quite a circle, but like a sort of ring like that, and that was part of the live. So I just remember it so vividly because I have pictures and videos of it. But that was when I first saw Subfocus live, and that made a mark on me. And then around about 2016, 17, his music started like coming to me hard again. I started consuming his album Taurus a lot, and since then he sort of became like my hero. Subfocus. So like essentially what I'm saying is like, hopefully that's going to happen with Subfocus one day.
One day, I reckon. If like, and I've said this to people that I've interviewed before as well, I genuinely believe that anyone can do anything they put their mind to, as long as they care about what they're doing. Like that's all it takes, is to actually have genuine passion and like put in the hours, which obviously you've done and you are doing. So I reckon that's 100% going to happen. And 100%. How cool that when it happens, you can look back on this interview and be like, there we go.
Yeah.
Is that why you became friends with Feed the Fire? Because he looked a little bit like Subfocus?
No, that's totally coincidental. That's so funny. I used to always say that to him. I remember. I wasn't aware that there was a bit of a meme about this amongst his following. And I once said to him, I was like, bro, do you know that you look quite a lot like Subfocus? And he was like, yeah. He said like it's sort of a bit of an inside joke between me and some friends and like my sort of like community that he's building. And so yeah, it was quite funny because he shaved his head and now he looks like Shock One.
I know.
Shout out Shock One. Yeah.
There's no escape.
It's funny.
It's like he's sorted for Halloween outfits though. So that's
yeah. I mean, all he's got to do is like put a sticker of like Subfocus's album on or something, and people will just know. Well, if he was at a rave at least, anyway, they would just sort of know what his costume was.
Oh, for sure. That would be so good. Imagine a D&B Halloween rave where everyone has to go dress as their favourite DJ.
Yeah, that would be very good, actually.
That would be so good.
I would imagine that Mosey would be the most popular one.
Oh, 100%. But
like
he's
the shirt, like
the
the whole, they're very like the flamboyant shirts, and yeah.
Just glitter.
Yeah.
Oh, his style is amazing. I love it. Pushing so many boundaries. So your sort of vibe of your music kind of combines that like euphoric sort of like you said, like these lovely pads and but with that real dirty bass line, and I love the combination of the two. Do you find that you kind of went into making music like this is the sort of sound I want to make, or you sort of found it on your journey? Because I know you said about having like a mentor. How did your kind of your sound come about?
So the current sort of iteration of sort of where it's sort of at the minute is nothing like what I wanted to make.
Really?
When I first started production, I wanted to make stuff that sounded like Lexorus. I don't know if you're familiar with who Lexorus is, but
I am.
Yeah, like the Lexorus, like the big room liquidity, like where the mixes are sort of not undercooked at all, but the drums are definitely not the most prominent part of the mix. The drums are pushed quite far back in the mix in relation to a lot of other
melody.
Drum and bass. It's all in the lead, right? That is the sort of liquidity style drum and bass that I wanted to make because of the influences I had from liquidity at the time.
That makes sense.
But the problem with that is a lot of my close friends and even my partner would tell me like, hey, like your music sort of the stuff you're making kind of all sounds the same at the minute, and I was a bit like, oh damn, but this is different, blah blah. But then I sort of took a step back and I realized like, it's kind of. It all just kind of sounded the same, and I couldn't really get the results I wanted out of it. I've removed a lot of my stuff from SoundCloud and Spotify, but one of the tunes that sort of ended that for me, or two, I have one called Activate and one called End Chapter, which I made when I was quite terrible at producing, but I left them up because and yeah, that sort of sound was where I was sort of going with things. And then I started taking a lot of influence from the worship guys, like, and I wanted to make like sort of Subfocus, Dimension, Ready to Fly sort of sound, which my track End Chapter has a lot of influence from. But then I thought, it's time to level up. I'm gonna get a mentor, and then I started doing production mentorship with Tex of Parappas. I'm sure you know who Parappas are.
I do indeed.
He genuinely changed the game for me. I had friends in my circle of producers so one of my friends, Denver, did a production lesson with him. Shout out Denver. He's actually part of a massive duo called In Parallel now. They're blowing up.
I love In Parallel.
Yeah. So that's another story, but they're massive now. But Denver produced drum and bass before that. Still does.
Ready.
But yeah. He did me, him, and 5X. We went and did a 3-day production. We called it an Airbnb. We went and rented like an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Leeds, I think it was, in the middle of the countryside. There's like sheeps and stuff around us, like
nice,
literal middle of nowhere. And we went out there because we'd been friends for like a year or so at that point. We went out there, and also Harrison from Pure Filth, Harrison is also who's the number 2 in Parallel. We all met and did like a a 3-day binge of just producing drum and bass. Denver did a production session during that Airbnb, and he went off into another room and he did his production lesson, blah blah. Didn't think too much of it, whatever. And then that's how I found out about who Parappas was and who Tex was. And then I decided to book some lessons of my own with him, and I've been doing them ever since for like a year and a half.
Wow.
And he took my production from like sort of, you know, like way down here to sort of like here, you know, obviously the massive long way to go still. But he absolutely changed the game for me. You know, even that thing I said earlier about Game Reduction Deluxe, all that was learned from him. He's got if you want to make dancehall drum and bass, he has the literal best dancehall drum and bass Patreon in existence. There's not a single one that's better. Aeon Modes is pretty good as well. Shock One has some good stuff as well, but in my opinion of what I've seen, his is the best Patreon in existence for drum and bass, dancehall drum and bass, even not dancehall, even jump up stuff. He is an insane producer. You know, those tracks that you heard, like they blew the hell up like last sort of year. They obviously were established before that, but like in terms of like DJ support on their tunes, because he used to make a lot more melodic stuff, which is amazing by the way. Really, really good stuff. One of my favorite tracks by him is Lost is it Lost with You, whatever. Anyway, those, you know, it wasn't a mistake that they blew up. The production quality of those tunes are absolutely unreal, and I knew it when I started doing lessons with him. I was like, this guy is crazy good, crazy good. And so I can't even remember what the question was, to be honest with you.
That was just it. It was about your the mentorship and how that shaped your sound and like
it was. So, you know, and there's tracks where, you know, I've had help with, because, you know, you work in a way where you can work in a way where you sort of do an over shoulder session, or you like he drives and you sort of, you know, bring stems in and you sort of like working it together or whatever. But yeah, his influence on my sound, his influence on my production has been totally game changing for me, really.
Amazing.
So if you, he's hard to book as well these days.
I can imagine. I was going to
say because his whole thing blew up as well in the last year and a half. So yeah, really, really invaluable.
Because that's the thing as well. I think a lot of people who aren't actually like a lot of people love drum and bass, obviously, but not everyone goes to the effort of like getting a DAW and wanting to actually create it, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I think so many people really underestimate how much knowledge you have to make something sound really, really good. Like it's like a whole different world, and people really underestimate how hard it actually is and like how much work it takes. And also kind of good for you that he's really booked up, because now people can just go to you instead, and it's like a trickle down effect.
Well, I mean, everything like major that I know is from him, just from
exactly
the hundreds of probably hours probably now that I've, you know, spent learning from him. Like he's the sort of guy where like he'll open a project file, there's no presets used. He could literally like make stuff in Serum, not even have to listen to it, and he's made the exact sound, and he's like like my sound design is decent. It's not nowhere near as good as like my friend 5X has got really good sound design, for example. But like Tex, another level. Like he's the craziest guy I've ever seen. His Serum knowledge is top.
So we're gonna go on to my favorite segment ever, and this is where every time I interview someone, I get them to prepare 3 tracks, or I prepare the 3 tracks, get them to send me 3 tracks according to different prompts that I give. And I just want to say I literally loved all your choices for these prompts. So the first prompt I said was a track you'd play to hype yourself up before a set. And do you remember what track you chose?
Yeah, it was Solar System by Self Focus. The best drum and bass tune ever made, in my opinion.
Of course. Yeah, it is. It's just so iconic, isn't it? Like, that's the thing. So yeah, I'm just going to play a little clip of Solar System just for people who haven't heard it. It is such an iconic song. So that was Sub Focus, Solar System. My brain went into absolute melt then, an absolutely iconic track. So you say that this gets you hyped up, and I'm guessing the reason for that is just because you just love the track.
I mean, a big part of my sound is like spatial influence, like galactic, like because I'm like really a big fan of space in general. I was kind of obsessed with it as a kid. I've had periods in my life I've been obsessed with certain things, and I remember a short period I was quite obsessed with space and telescopes and whatever. And that's why I resonate really hard with like Aeon Mode's music and Sub Focus's music, because I often feel that like they're very spacey, galactical, whatever influenced. That basically influenced my EP, Event Horizon, actually, that I'd released. The one that Bounce was on, those 3 tracks were all sort of spacey sort of influence, but particularly Supercluster. But yeah, Sub Focus, Solar System, for me, it just takes you on a journey. Like, you know, the big, really long portamento leads where it's like,
yes.
like that it just genuinely just to me it sort of like felt like you're in a sort of space shuttle and you're about to take off and you're about to go and visit like a distant planet or something, and it's like really like epic and intensified. Because I don't know if you know the genesis of Solar System, but the reason Solar System came into existence is because I think his publisher or management or someone, they asked Sub Focus if he would like to pitch some music for the Blade Runner 2048, is it 2042, whatever, reboot. And piece of music at a different tempo is what sort of started the genesis of Solar System. So the sound is very, very... He used a lot of old gear, or he tried to emulate a lot of old gear. I can forget the exact names of it, so I don't want to butcher it, but he used emulations of old gear to try and make that sort of Blade Runner sound, and that's why a lot of the intro of it sounds very much like sci-fi, sort of like dystopian. Because it was originally started as a pitch for a sync placement for film and TV, and then obviously it evolved into drum bass track, and it just puts me in that headspace of something serious is happening, like this, lock in kind of thing. That's why I would play it to like hype myself up. And I think it's beautiful as well. I think it's a beautiful piece of music. My track Dusk, which was my first label signing on Riot, has got the exact same patch, because the exact same serum patch for the portamento lead. Like they're because in Sub Focus's Solar System breakdown that he did, that's on YouTube, he shows the patch, so I copied it exactly and used the exact same chain in Ableton that he used, and that's in the breakdown of my intro and the breakdown of my tune Dusk, you'll hear that exact same patch. So
best
very
believe
inspired.
I'm gonna go and listen to this side by side.
You'll
cool.
You'll hear it. It's the same patch.
What a fun fact as well, though. I love that you have that knowledge about like the lore of Solar System. That's awesome.
I'm a bit of a nerd for that sort of stuff. Like you can obviously tell I'm like great. quite passionate about it. Like I could like talk
very
about
passionate.
This stuff
and I
all
love
day,
that you like you said you have like these different. Are you neurodivergent at all?
I'm undiagnosed, but my girlfriend is, and she thinks that
cool.
I might be. So
fair. So I've got autism and ADHD, so I can tend and I'm just like, I definitely have these like things I get very obsessed with as well. So that's the only reason I ask.
That's happened like my whole life, so I think very strong chance that these periods of like obsession and that sort of stuff, and you sort of absorb stuff like that you're passionate about like a sponge, and everything else is just sort of white noise for a while.
100%. Oh my gosh, like it's a bit debilitating at some points, but it's good in some ways. And
definitely.
You end up with just like the most niche knowledge ever.
It's always
good. Your second track, the second prompt I asked for, was a song you wish you'd produced. Do you remember what tune you chose for this one?
I think it was Breathe by Culture Shock, right?
It was indeed another absolute friggin' banger.
Crazy tune.
So I'm going to just play a little clip of this, and for anyone who hasn't heard it, and then I will delve into your reasons for choosing this after we've heard a little bit of it. So that was Breathe by Culture Shock. What is your reason for choosing this as a track that you wish you'd produced?
Us like dance floor producers, like there's like benchmarks of tracks which you'll reference in your own production.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll have like I have a bus in Ableton that's called References. That's external from my master chain, so there's no processing on it, just metering, referencing plugins, whatever. Breathe by Culture Shock is like one of the like epitomes of like clean, loud, like because when you're making this sort of music, you're making a loud piece of audio that won't necessarily have like the strongest dynamics, as in like, I mean, there's not too many dynamics in drum and bass anyway because of the genre. Like it's loud, it's a loud piece of audio, right? But that tune somehow manages to hit something stupid like -2 LUFS or something or other, which is like a measurement of how loud you perceive audio, while still sounding like dynamic as hell, like really, really amazing and melodic at the same time. And for me, when I was getting better at production, I would like listen to this song in my DAW outside of Spotify, because if you listen to Spotify, you're listening with like a bunch of compression and gain reduction on it, whatever, from all streaming services do that. And I'm listening to it and I'm just like, how did he make something like this that sounds so loud yet so clean and polished? And that's why, in my opinion, I think that Culture Shock is the best drum and bass producer ever, dance floor drum and bass producer ever. I think he's better. In my opinion, in my 3 years of production, I think
technical opinion.
I actually think that he might be better than Sub Focus. I mean, I'm sure some other people would argue with me about that, but I just think, I know Culture Shock is massive, but I really do think that he's really underrated, because I mean, the amount of 4A Culture Shock tunes that I put in my sets over anyone else is crazy. Like not even just obviously 4A is F minor, but any key tracks, Culture Shock is just he's insane. He's insane. And I remember reading somewhere that Culture Shock is he said he was very anal about how where he gets his sounds from and stuff, and how he liked to make every single song down to every little element himself. He liked to synthesize it all himself. I don't know if that's still true, but I find that he's obviously putting an album together at the minute, right, for the work he's been releasing in the last year and a half, because they're all got similar like pictures and stuff, so it's obviously part of an album, right? But the sound that he manages to adopt for a body of work, for me, is absolutely crazy. And I think they're all so like in the same box. They all sound so similar, you know, whilst at the same time sounding different. For me, that tune just sort of epitomizes that opinion that I have of him about that. I've met him once as well. I met him my first year. It was first or second year of Liquidity. Got like a photo, and I asked him a question. I remember, I kind of cringy. I remember asking him. I said, "Hey man, I won't take too much of your time. I just wanted to ask you I wanted to ask you a question." And I said, like, if you could talk to your producer self 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself? And he's like, nice. You really caught me off guard there, but I'd probably say look into phasing. And I didn't really understand too much what he meant at the time. Now, obviously, I do understand what he means. He's talking about the correlation between like your like sub frequencies phasing with each other and you losing volume on like your sub information. Essentially, is what he's saying. So yeah, and it's a really good tip actually. Yeah,
nice. And I love the fact that even if you didn't know what it meant at the time, you still kept it with you until
I wrote it down.
I wrote
it down on my notes.
Nice.
Yeah, I wrote down my notes on Apple, and I remember looking at it like, and I was like, yeah. So
you're like, one day I'll know what that means.
I'll know. Yeah, exactly. And I did. Yeah.
To meet like people that you aspire to be as well is like, it's such a weird experience, isn't it? Because you're like, I so need to be cool right now, but at the same time, I am literally freaking out because this person is awesome.
Yeah, I find that really, really hard to do sometimes, because especially when you're passionate, like you can like overshare and just like absolutely spill everything, and you overshare massively, right? And I'm really, I still really I find that really hard to deal with even now, actually.
Yeah. So. Oh, you're just gonna embrace it now. Like I've been the worst, and now I just embrace it. I'm like, I'm such an oversharer. I'm gonna talk everyone's ears off. Some people hate it, and that's fine. Yeah. That's not my problem. That's what you gotta realize. You're like, if someone isn't receptive to me, that is not my problem.
Yeah, that's just life.
Yeah. The only person that I've ever like walked away from, and I've been like, I'm such an idiot, was Lens.
Yeah.
I'm literally like, she is just queen in my eyes. She is full queen. I've watched her live so many times. I think her track selection is just like, it's just insane.
She's a great DJ.
Awesome.
She's a great DJ.
She's such a good DJ. Like the energy, everything, amazing. And I met her once in the crowd at Hospitality in the Woods, and I was such a doofus. Like a doofus is the only word for it. Because I was like, oh, I really like you. And I was like laughing nervously, and I was like, oh my god. And then like halfway through I was like, I'm making a fucking tit of myself right now. And I was like, I've just got to, and then I was trying to make up for it and like and it was just train wreck. And I walked away being like, she thinks I'm the weirdest person in the world.
But but the thing is, hopefully one day you can meet her and you can say, hey, you probably don't remember me. And she'd be like, oh, I remember you. And then you'd be like, yeah, that was really cringy. Like, but then like you have a moment and that, like,
hopefully. I mean, my dream is to like support for her one day. Hopefully she comes and does like an Australian tour, and then I can make amends and not be such a doofus. But sure. Sorry, that was a full tangent of my own there. No, I just had to relay. just had to overshare a little bit. So the last track you chose, so this prompt was a guilty pleasure tune that you secretly love, and which track did you choose for this one? So
I wanted to choose non-DMB, but I thought I would just keep it DMB on the basis that this is about drum and bass. And it's Click 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 Hedex Tiesto. Is it Basslayerz as well? I think that
it is Basslayerz. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think that's
it is. Yeah,
a very Marmite tune, but I really like it. It's not something that I would play. Actually, that's what I would consider playing. Actually, but anyway, I think it's a Marmite tune, but I really like it.
Yeah. But I think Hedex in himself, as well as Marmite, he is literally like the Marmite of drum and bass. So
for sure.
It kind of makes sense. So I'll just play a little clip for anyone who hasn't heard this before, and then we will dive into why you chose it as your guilty pleasure.
It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. That's the sounds of a lyrical cat. It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. That's the sounds of a lyrical cat. It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. The songs of a lyrical cat. It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. That's the songs of a lyrical cat. It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. It goes click, 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 clack, clack, clack. That's the songs of a lyrical cat.
So that is a little clip of Click 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 by Tiesto, Hedex and Basslayerz. As usual as well, every tune I play in this episode will be linked in the description if you want to go and check out the full version. So, what is your reason for choosing that as your guilty pleasure tune?
Just because it's not something that I would like normally play or listen to, but first of all, when I saw that Hedex to collab with Tiesto, I was like, that's crazy. Like that's like a really like honourable thing. That's like, you know, amazing that sort of happened, because I saw that he was getting big DJ support from Tiesto, and then obviously they've linked and made something, whatever. So first of all, I was really impressed. I thought like that's not only like cool, but like that's big for drum and bass, right? Tiesto, like collabing with like a household drum and bass artist, like that's awesome. But the tune is really, really good. It's just it's very, again, it's Marmite, but I just love the big brass stabs on it. I mean, it's very much that's very much the Hedex, My Home is the Rave sort of sound, right? But it's very like big room or like massive dance festival stages. Like it's very synonymous with that, and I like I like a lot of that, because I used to consume a lot of big room house back in like the 2013-14 days of like Dimitri Vangelis and Wyman, like the Avicii, like Tiesto. All back then, I went through a phase of really enjoying that kind of big room house type genre. Yeah, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, just with some like really dirty, gritty drum and bass on it as well. So that's why I chose it. I really like it, and I actually might. I probably won't put it in the set that I'm playing next week, but I might consider it for a future set, actually. Yeah, I might
yeah, nice. Do it. Just really throw people off. Because the set you've got next week, that's the Contralux Ascension, wasn't it?
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
is that? Where is that?
It's in Stockholm. It's in a venue in Stockholm that I played at 2 months ago, which is really
that was your
good.
First one.
That was it was literally my first one. It was I was limited because I was on 2 decks, but I thought I did a pretty good job for just 2 decks. You know, just real quick mixing, like taking a lot of risks. I had sync on the whole time because I didn't want to. You know, I was mixing so fast. I just didn't want any room for errors, and I'm like so 8 bars. I'm like pressing the performance pad, like just because I didn't have the time of of having a 3rd deck. So
2 decks is so tricky. How cool that like your first couple gigs are like internationals. Like you're instantly an international DJ. That's so cool.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like I don't really see it like that. It's kind of like strange, to be honest with you. But it's really cool. Like people seem to really enjoy the first one. So they said, hey, like we want to. Do you want to play the next one as well? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to play it. So.
Of course. Yeah, I love that. Are you trying to get gigs? Like, you're in the process of getting gigs?
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I guess. I am. I don't really. I don't really know how to go about it, to be honest, because I guess I don't post enough. I guess I don't post enough DJ content because I'm a producer first and foremost, and like the DJ. So I did it backwards. The majority of people do DJing and then learn producing. I was told I produced and then I learned to DJ. So I managed to pick bits of the DJing stuff up quite quickly, but I'm not the most technical DJ. Like, there's no like my girlfriend, for instance, is a way better DJ than me.
Really?
Yeah. So funny story. We met through Instagram, and she DJs and stuff. And she's way better than I am. But I'm definitely a producer before a DJ. But I've got to a pretty good standard. So
but realistically as well, I think a lot of DJs get really good at DJing, and then they get to a point where they're still not getting headline slots because they're not playing any of their own tunes. So actually, I feel like the way around you're doing it is better, because you'll your tunes people know that. So then like. And you don't have to be as impressive a DJ if you're playing your own tracks, in my personal opinion.
That's my thinking as well.
100%. 100%. Like, I feel like, you don't have to have the craziest set. Whereas if you're just a DJ, it's like, okay, prove yourself as a DJ.
Yeah, you've got nothing else to stand on.
Exactly. So I think the way around you're doing is actually like almost smarter, in my personal opinion. But it's a hustle getting gigs. It really is. I found that coming to a new country as well, where you don't know anyone, like that's such a big part of the game, is like who you know.
For sure.
So networking is like, it's hard.
Yeah, it's paramount. I hate it, but
I hate it.
This is the world we live in, you know. So
100%. That's the thing. Do you have anything coming out soon? Any new releases that we can keep our eyes peeled for?
I absolutely do. So this coming Friday, I have another release on Riot Records, which is like a two-track thing, not an EP, well, whatever you want to call it, just an A and B side track. 2 collabs with M-Joy, who we were talking about earlier, which is really cool. They're really great. They've had some great DJ support already from like A Little Sound, people like that on InFlight have been downloading it, which is really cool. Yeah, so... actually, and funny enough, K9 actually downloaded one of the tunes as well. I sent it to him on Instagram DM the other day, which is awesome. So hopefully he plays it. Yeah, which is cool.
Oh, yeah, fingers crossed.
So I've got that coming this week, and then in the next few months I've got some more releases as well. Some work with some cool artists. I've got another track with Ellen Lynch and Feed the Fire. Funnily enough, we've got a tune coming out next month, which is quite more of a bit of a commercial vibe, quite nice slapper. And then I've got some more stuff coming in the following months. I'm doing a release every month this year, so definitely stay tuned. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will for sure, and hopefully everyone who watches this will as well. That's really exciting. So yeah, we will keep our eyes peeled. And again, like I said, I'll link everything below so no one misses out. I just want to say a real big thank you to being on here and letting me interview you. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. And that is all the questions I've got for you today. We have though, guys. I'm going to be linking in the description everywhere that people can find you on social media, and also like your Spotify and Apple Music, etc. But we actually have a lovely little guest mix. How do you pronounce your name? Do you say Mixture?
Yeah, Mixture. Yeah, so my surname is Mixture. So I just like it was kind of inspired by, I don't know if you know who Kashmir is, like a sort of house kind of big room whatever producer. So. Anyway, he's quite legendary. He's got like cult status because he's done sample packs, and like his sample packs are some of the most popular ever. KSHMR, that kind of inspired me. So instead of Mixture, it's MXTR. A lot of people say MXTR, and that's fine as well, but it's Mixture. Yeah,
okay,
Mixture.
Cool. Because that's what I said at the start, but I will now. Mixture. That makes sense. Because then when I added you on Discord, it was like Mixture
Mixture MXTR. Yeah.
That makes sense. Love that though. That's actually a really cool name. And you know what? Sorry, another side note. I actually think when people have aliases that people don't 100% like, you know, the whole boo controversy, things like that gets people talking. About
that's true.
Artists, like when everyone's like, no, it's this, no, it's that. I think I love that.
It's conversation.
Sorry.
Piece, yeah.
Exactly. So Mixture has whipped up a little 20-minute guest mix for us, and I have already listened to this, and it slaps so freaking hard. So turn it up, get weird, and let's go.
Makeshift cables, fire exits are either locked or blocked. There are no fire extinguishers in the emergency light. Hit him with it when
Thank you. Have a good night, yeah? Take care. See you later, babe.
I just want to feel the bass. I just want to see the lights. I just want to be in switch. Strobe light stimulation. I wanna feel the vibration. If it was a pill, I'd be popping it. When I start, I ain't stopping it. No limitation. I wanna feel the vibration. Strobe light stimulation. I wanna feel the vibration. Strobe light stimulation. I wanna feel the vibration. 'Cause all
Delta. As we play for the Uncle Raver. We go.
Take it down to the take it down to the bone. Take it down to the bone. Take it down to the bone. Take it down to the